You're listening to Release Your Resistance with Bex Beltran, episode 98. Welcome to Release Your Resistance. This is Bex. The only reason why any of us don't have what we want in life is because of our own resistance. Right now, I'm learning how to recognize and release my resistance, and this podcast tells you how you can release your resistance so that you can live the exact life that you want. Let's get started. This month on the podcast, I am introducing you to services that you might consider as gifts for people you love or even for yourself. So today I want to introduce you to Brenda Kalasa. She is a business success coach and she offers creative thinking solutions for leaders and entrepreneurs. Let's go to the interview. Hi, Brenda. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I am very curious and interested to hear what you have to share.
Thanks, Bex. I am thrilled to be here and I am loving everything you do. I've been checking out your podcast and yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. And I did just give a brief introduction as I was introducing this episode. And of course, I know you can do such a better job than I did. So would you mind sharing what you do and why you do what you do?
Again, my name is Brenda Kalasa, and I'm a Kaizen-based success coach for established female business owners. And I help them to build massive, I like to say massive success in their business so that they can create more wealth, enjoy the process, and feel more fulfilled while they're at it. My specialty is in personal development and peak performance strategies for more efficiency, joy, and fulfillment in both business and life. My background is actually 27 years as a visual brand expert. So I've had my graphic design company, like I said, for 27 years. I built 4 other businesses in that time. And I really enjoy helping my clients elevate their brand to reach higher and further on in their growth through both mentoring and implementation, as well as coaching.
Wow, that's amazing. So I do want to back up a little bit because you mentioned Kaizen. And so in case anyone who's listening has not heard of it, let's just say, first of all, how do we spell it in case someone wants to look it up?
Sure. It's Kaizen.
Okay. And for all of us Americans, that was a Z.
Right.
So yeah, we didn't mention, Brenda, where are you in the world?
I'm in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
And good catch, by the way.
Yes. And through the magic of the internet, we have now met each other and are able to have really fun conversations about strategy and planning and creativity and all the fun things that we get very excited about. So Kaizen, for those who haven't heard of it, if you had to just give a bumper sticker definition, how would you describe that?
Sure. So it's actually a Japanese term that came out of World War II from America, and it just stands for small steps for continual improvement. So it's a very gentle process. It helps people get past these challenges and hurdles that stop them in their tracks and cause them to, procrastinate and feel stressed and overwhelmed and cause them to pause.
And that, what you just said, is what I consider resistance. Challenges and hurdles when we get overwhelmed. And instead of taking action, we just freeze or pause. I mean, that is exactly, I think, why many of us don't go after and do what we can do and go after what we really want. So this is something that I kind of mentioned to you when we were talking last week, that I think this time of year, especially as we're thinking of going into the new year as well, and people are talking about vision boards and New Year's resolutions and only 60 days left of this year now, fewer, right? Of course. And so there can be this feeling of overwhelm. And not to mention, I've seen this on my own calendar. I don't know if you have as well, but I feel like every single day for the rest of the year is scheduled already. And with really good things, right? Things, parties and gatherings and things that I really want to do and that I'm really looking forward to. But I do feel, and I think I see in others as well, a sense of overwhelm that could cause us to shut down. So can your work help even listeners who are not business owners, not well-established business owners who've been in business for 27 years? What do you think?
Help, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. You know what? This is the time of year that we put so much on our plate, right? We juggle. We are busy. And when that happens, we feel overwhelmed and we feel stressed. Just thinking about everything that has to be done, everything that we have to do. And the more overwhelmed, the more stressed and resistant we are, we lose the ability to think rationally, right? That's when our friend procrastination steps in. And procrastination is usually fueled by fear, excuses, and self-doubt. So our brain naturally wants to protect us. It doesn't like us feeling stressed or in unfamiliar situations. And so it starts to find ways to temporarily soothe and redirect us, even if it's at the risk of seeming unkind and uncaring. So that's where we get those voices that we hear. Some call it your inner critic, but that's when those voices come, and it's when we don't often have confidence in our abilities. So those voices remind us of how stupid we are, how fat we are, how uneducated we are, how undeserving we are, all of that, right? All of that in a pretty little package. And those are all tactics that our brain uses to stop us from doing the things that could actually help us to grow, to get more done, to take risks that need to be taken. So as you can well imagine, we need to be outside of our comfort zone. No matter what you do for a living, it doesn't matter. We need to be outside of our comfort zone every now and again in order to grow and succeed and actually do the things that are important to us. We need at times to do that and to take certain risks. That's just life, right? So in order to cut through that resistance, we need to find ways to bypass that area of the brain that resists on our behalf and sets off alarms that make us stop in our tracks in the first place. So that area is called the amygdala. Probably heard of it. It's our fight or flight center. It's our primitive brain. But if we can allow that brain to stay happy, content, and at times sleepy, you're not going to fuel the need to sound the alarms and redirect yourself into something familiar again. So this is where Kaizen tools come in beautifully. It's a really gentle way of easing into that fear center of the brain in a way that doesn't set off those alarms and encourages play and cooperation instead of resistance. And it does this through subtle, small, and gentle tweaks in the way we think. So how many times, let me put this out there, how many times have you heard a motivational coach or a speaker that say, in order to make massive change in your life, you need to take massive steps forward? It's the only way to do it.
I even have an episode called Massive Action, so I totally get it. Yes.
Massive action. Okay, well, that may work for some, but it doesn't work for most, because what happens is that it just starts to create overwhelm after a while. And then we don't get anything done. It just isn't sustainable over a period of time. So the way I see it, our brains grow resistant when three things happen. One is when we tell ourselves what to do. Okay, I need to get this done. I need to do better. I need to eat healthier. I need to exercise, right?
Right.
Your brain's going to resist every single time because it doesn't like to be told what to do. If you can picture a 6-year-old, okay, remember, this is our primitive brain. If you can picture a 6-year-old standing with her feet apart, arms crossed, shaking her head, you can't tell me what to do.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what that part of our brain is like. It does not being told what to do. And this is where small questions can come into play. Number 2 is when we give into those fears and limiting beliefs and a lot of doubt that we have for ourselves. As I mentioned, the brain hates to see us in discomfort. And sometimes in order to soothe us back into our comfort zones where we feel familiar, it'll throw past fears, struggles, doubts, and distractions at us so that we feel the need to pivot from what it is that's making us nervous or reluctant or stressed. And number 3, lastly, is when we encounter change. Our brains hate change. If you take a moment to cross your arms.
Okay, crossing,
Take
yes.
a moment to cross your arms. Now try and cross the other way.
Oh yeah, I've done that one before.
Really hard,
it's so hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
So it becomes awkward. And most people resist that change because it threatens the natural pattern of familiarity. So whether it's a new role, a new project, a new boss, a new diet or routine, your brain has to work overtime to learn to adapt to that change. And unfortunately, if we don't learn to somehow embrace those hard changes, those hard things, we continue to get what we've always gotten. We continue to feel unfulfilled. We continue to be miserable just because we keep giving into that. But the good news is that you can intentionally train yourself, as you know, to think and behave in ways that are much easier. And I do this through the 3 pillars of Kaizen: small thoughts, small questions, and small actions. And each pillar works beautifully to sneak around that amygdala in a playful way so that it doesn't set off any alarms. Anything that has a goal attached to it can be done in half the time with those tools.
And what would be an example of a small action?
Some people call it hack your brain into cooperation. So let's say you were trying to eat healthier and you were in the supermarket. Instead of telling yourself, I need to pick up some healthy things today, try asking yourself a small question, such as, what could I pick up today that would be healthier for me? Or how could I eat healthier this week? You're asking your brain to cooperate. You're not telling it what to do. You're asking it to cooperate. And you're doing it in a fun and playful way.
Yeah, it's a solution provider. So when you ask the question, what do I want to eat that would nourish me? Suddenly your brain's not looking down the processed food aisle with the sweets and the sugars. Now your brain is like, okay, nourishment. What's nourishing? Yes.
It wants to come on board and please you.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was the question, small question.
Yeah. So small thoughts is when you can provide yourself with more confidence. If you are nervous about an upcoming meeting or presentation, or you're nervous about a conversation that you need to have, and it's keeping you up at night, usually 99% of the time, if you visualize, I call it Mind Sculpt.
Oh, okay.
It's more than visualization. It's using all senses of your being. If you take the time to just 1 minute, a few days before that event, and actually imagine yourself in the moment, imagine yourself getting good news, getting bad news, imagine it going well, imagine it going not so well, and preparing yourself, you're going to feel way more confident going into that situation because you've already been there, done that. There's a lot of athletes that do that. And when things happen during a swim meet or during a competition and things don't go like they want it to, they know exactly what to do because they've already visualized, they've already practiced that. So you feel your muscles, you smell the smells, you hear the sounds, you touch, all your sensations.
So I have an example of this that I think I could imagine someone who's listening right now might be able to put this into practice. So let's say that somebody who's listening right now is concerned and anxious about an upcoming family holiday event. They know that there's going to be some stress. There's going to be maybe alcohol, maybe food, maybe people, maybe opinions, maybe activities that somehow create some anxiety or some feelings for this individual. What can she do? Because I can almost guarantee that if we told her, why don't you go think about this and imagine what could happen, how it will smell, what you will feel, imagine if things go right, imagine if things go wrong, that would be a reason for her brain to say, forget it. I don't want to pre-imagine it. No way. That's too stressful. So What can she do in advance?
So I think along with that, when you're imagining how you'd like the event to go, you start to mitigate the threats. If there's a certain conversation that somebody's always drawn to, make it a fun game and say, hey, today, if this conversation comes up, you owe $1 into the jar. If you can make it fun, it's a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah.
So I love the jar example because there's a lot of people out there that use our current environment to become really negative. And a lot of times feelings get hurt, relationships struggle. And I've done that before. When I've invited people, I'll say, okay, this is a non-subject zone. And hey, I need money for babysitting. So I'll tell you what, if I hear anybody bring that subject up, politics, religion, whatever it is,
sure, yeah,
get out your wallet because you're going to owe me.
Yes, I love it. Yes.
Have the jar right there and it keeps it top of mind and it creates a little bit of fun too.
And I think to overcome any no cash objections, you could even put a little sticker on the jar that has your Venmo barcode.
Exactly.
So
I accept Visa, MasterCards, e-transfers, Venmo, whatever.
Yes. Okay. So anyone out there who's concerned about topics coming up over the next few weeks or months, you can set the rule. If it's your own house, you can say this topic's off limits. If you bring it up, you pay cash, right? Card, whatever. And then you can determine where the money goes to. Maybe it goes to your favorite political opponent. Maybe it goes to your favorite nonprofit. Who knows?
And it doesn't have to be money. It can be a silly game, like,
washing the
dishes. Stand on one foot and
do a dare.
Turn around. It depends on the crowd, right? And what they're willing to do. If they're a fun crowd, they're probably going to be open to those type of things. And if not, then you want to keep the event short.
Right. Yes. Okay. So we talked about small questions, small thoughts. Did we bring up small actions?
No, we didn't. So small actions are really useful when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. I don't like admin work. And so my filing goes from here to here in a heartbeat. And I keep putting it off because it's not something I enjoy doing. So what I'll do is I'll break it down to its core and I will ask myself a small question and I will ask myself, can I do a half an hour of filing? And if I'm still getting resistance, I'll break it down even further. Can I do 15 minutes? And I'll keep breaking it down until it's of course you can.
Right.
Because there's no excuses. So you break it down time-wise, or maybe it's 5 sheets.
Yes.
Right? Whatever it is, just to gain momentum. Because once we have momentum, we feel familiar with the process. And it's not as scary. It's not as putting off, I guess, as it was. And chances are going to be high that if I've done 5 sheets, now I'm in momentum, I'll want to do 5 more.
Right.
And if not, then I'll pat myself on the shoulder and say, good for you. You did 5 sheets. That's more than what happened yesterday.
Yes.
If you say, hey, you only have to do 5 minutes and you do a half an hour.
Amazing.
Well, amazing, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's great. So this is the work that you do with your clients, then you help them come up with small thoughts, small actions, and small questions.
That's part of it all, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the key elements that work really well hand in hand together. Of course, there's so much else that we do, but if somebody's resistant, if they're just unable to get to a goal, let's take it down to its barest essence and see what it takes for you to start. If you can start, it doesn't matter how small it is. If I can get you to the point where you can start, it goes up from there.
Mm-hmm.
And you complete that goal way quicker than if you're constantly putting it off and procrastinating and resisting. Right?
Mm. So when your clients come to you, do they already know that you're going to be using this technique with them?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. I mean, if they've been on my website, they'll know. Mm-hmm. Because I do mention it. But you know what? Most people don't care about the tools you use. Just fix me, just help me, right? This is a very gentle approach. It's not something, I don't become a drill sergeant at all. If you're resisting, there are reasons for that. And we try and dig to the point of why you're resisting and how to get over that resistance. I have a lot of different tools, but Kaizen is one of my favorite for sure.
Oh, that sounds so interesting.
It's all in how we think differently. If you're in business, stay ahead of the competition, or in order to plan a unique party or do something different with your kids in a unique way, you have to learn to think differently. And that's all part of creative thinking.
Yeah, I do love that. I think that's so helpful for people.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I wanted to also ask you some other personal questions too, if you're up for them, just so that we
Sure.
can all get a sense for who you are and what you do. So do you, aside from what you've already shared with us, do you have any favorite self-development topics or practices?
I do. Most of the time, when I feel overwhelmed and resistant, it's because I don't look to infuse joy into my days. So often, your head is down and you're working, or you're dealing with the kids, or you're dealing with that, and you're juggling and whatever else. There's no time for it often because we don't make the time. But once you start to infuse joy into your day, and I don't care what it is. So often my clients go, well, what do you mean? Like what? I said, well, what did you used to do growing up?
Okay.
Let's start there, right? Maybe it's you need to bring out the Play-Doh, or maybe you need to do the slinky, or maybe you need to use a makeshift putting green that you've got, something, right? Infuse joy into your day alongside with breaks.
Okay.
Because you're going to be more fulfilled in your day, and you're going to be happier overall. Gratitude is a big part of that for me. I try and say at least 3 things that I'm grateful for each and every day, even when the day goes crap.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm just grateful that I didn't throw my kids through the window. Like seriously. Sometimes I'm just grateful that I'm on this side of the dirt.
Yes.
And if that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm grateful for that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you keep a gratitude journal or any other kind of journal?
Well, I do have a journal of my brain dumps. So when my head is full, I'm a big proponent of brain dumps. It's part of my Align Your Time productivity map that I teach. But when your head is full, do a brain dump. 5 minutes. It doesn't even have to make sense. Nobody else has to read it but you. Just get it from your head onto paper. So, because often what happens is we feel like we have to remember everything.
Right.
And that's stressful. And so if we get it out and onto paper, that's the first step in trying to alleviate that burden.
Yes.
We need to unravel that yarn, and that's the first step to do that for me. So that's what my journal is. A gratitude journal, you know what? I've tried that. I just can't seem to do it consistently. It's kind of something I do before bed.
Right. Yeah.
And I do it with my husband too. And I say, okay, 3 things. What are you grateful for? And he'll go, oh, come on. I go, no, 3 things right now.
Good for you. Yes. Okay, good. I love hearing everyone's different journaling or gratitude practices, because if it works, it works. And you don't have to use a quote unquote right way. Well, what about outside or part of work? It doesn't, you can choose how you answer this. Is there anything that you love to recommend to other people? So books, TV shows, products?
I'm a lifelong learner. So I love podcasts. I love self-help books. I love taking programs. I mean, I'm an investor. I invest in myself continuously. I am usually in one program or other because it helps me. It helps to propel me forward, whether it's personally or professionally. It doesn't matter. In the morning, during the week, I'll do 20 minutes to a half an hour of working out. If I'm on the elliptical, I will take that opportunity to listen to a podcast, or I will listen to a video in my program, or I'll make some notes or read a book. Right? I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I like to do that, and it saves me time. I'm learning, I'm exercising. All is good in my world when I can do that.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. And I like that you mix it up too, because sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's a podcast, sometimes it's a book. I think that's so smart. Yeah.
I get bored easy. Did I mention it?
Some people do. What about a mantra? Do you have any kind of expression or a verse or any kind of set of words that you regularly tell yourself?
I love the grateful for some, grateful for more method. which I guess would be a manifestation mantra. I don't know what you'd call it. I'm sure maybe you've got something
I
different.
don't know.
But...
So tell me the mantra again. Like, how do you say it to yourself?
Okay, so one example that I've used is I am grateful to have a new client today, and I'm especially grateful that I will continue to attract 5 more clients this month. Right? So I'm grateful for something now, and I'm grateful for more later.
Ah, okay. My translation of that one, I do say the same, but in a different verbiage. Mine, the way that I say it is happy, thank you, more please.
Oh yeah, I like that.
So I'm happy for just like you said, I'm happy for the client. Thank you.
Yeah.
More please.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I use that in writing, but also, in the voices in my head, I say it. But yeah, when I notice something that I'm grateful for, like that in the moment, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad now I have this, or I'm so glad this came to me, and I would love more. And I'm so grateful for this. I'm so happy, thankful, more please. Right? Yeah.
I truly believe that when we're grateful and give thanks, not only are we complete, but it sends that message out into the universe to come back to us.
Yeah.
Right. When we're full of negativity and glass half empty type people, that message also goes out to the negative, and we start seeing more and more and more of that. Is what you focus on, what you're thankful for. That's exactly what you're going to see more of.
Yes. And I love that you have it as a mantra for yourself. Is it the way that you said it was grateful for some, grateful for more?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're already acknowledging, I already received this and I am grateful for it. And of course I'll be open to more, but I already received this. And I think that's the correct order.
And I'm grateful to have more.
Sure. Yeah.
For sure. And I noticed that you had one too, something about money.
I always have plenty of time, plenty of energy, and plenty of money.
Right.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the way that one started for me was in the realization that there's no problem that will not be solved by time, money, or energy. Either I work at it and I fix it, or I throw money at it and it's fixed, or time will take care of it. And I have plenty of all of those. I have plenty of time, plenty of energy, and plenty of money. So there's no problem that cannot be fixed.
No problem here. That's right. That's good. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I ask people, do you have a mantra? In my mind, I'm going, or 100.
Right.
Because I do have so many. Yeah.
Me too. And it just depends on the day and on, the thing that I want to focus on.
Sure.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, yeah. What about any routines? Do you have any routines or rituals that you love?
I always do some sort of workout to move my body. I build that into my rewards and my breaks as well during the day. It's all part of that, enjoying the process. So I'll have dance breaks when I need them, when I need to get up and move. I'll crank my favorite song, and my dog dances with me. We make an awesome team.
Nice.
But I also love getting into the office about an hour earlier and catching up on emails and the small things before my day begins. That system allows me to start my day full of clarity on what it is I need to be doing for that day, even before I sit down at my desk. So that is part of my routine, is to set myself up for the next day. It saves me a massive amount of time when I get into the office, and I am ready to roll as soon as I sit down. So that is definitely part of my routine.
I love to hear that. Yeah, that's so good. And do you have anything coming up? How can people find you? How can people work with you?
Thank you for asking. There's 2 things that I have coming up. Well, first of all, people can look up Brenda Kolasa, Kolasa. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Alignable, Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I love to help women and a few good men, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
In business reach higher in order to achieve the things they've always wanted to do. There are 2 things that I'm celebrating with these women right now, and I'm doing it for free. So I'm offering a free sign up for 12 days of business building gifts starting December 1st. So this is specifically for those busy female-led business owners who are looking for easy to implement tools and strategies that are just going to help them in their business. Help them to prepare, get ready for the new year. So 12 gifts in the form of downloadables, checklists, easy to watch videos that educate, inform, and inspire. There's some pretty awesome prizes to win as well. The other one is a celebration for 27 years in business for myself. And to honor that, I'm offering business building accelerator session to 27 female rock stars in business who are feeling stuck right now. And they just need some clarity in the direction that they need to go. They need to get over some of those challenges and that resistance that they're facing. I've got that going on as well. Like I said, I'm only taking 27 women. I'm about halfway through right now.
Yeah, this is the perfect time. A few weeks ago, I did an episode about my favorite gifts, and I share your love of personal development and continuous learning. So maybe there's someone out there right now who's thinking, "Ooh, that sounds like the perfect gift for me." So
yeah, absolutely.
You should definitely
we need that up for ourselves, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so we'll have everything that you just mentioned linked in the show notes, and we'll just make it really easy for everyone. We'll just call it beckspeed.org. That's my website, beckspeed.org/Brenda, BRENDA. That way, anyone who wants to find everything that you just mentioned can go right there and get all the links. And is there anything else that I should have asked but didn't ask?
I guess if I could say one thing, it's give yourself some credit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't feel like you have to do it all. Say yes to everybody because nobody expects that. The only thing that's expected from you is to do everything you can and no more, no less.
That's right.
Just everything you can.
Right. Oh, what a good reminder. Thank you for that. Yes. And thank you, Brenda, so much for coming on the show today. It was so nice to hear more about what you do and hear what you have going on. And I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for the opportunity.
This has been Release Your Resistance. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, think about someone who you know who would love this episode and share it with them. There should be a share button on your app if you're listening to this on your phone. If you'd like to continue this conversation one-on-one or in real time, come visit me on my site at beckspeed.org to see how we can work together.